Hey everyone, this is the second part of last week's episode. If you didn't hear it, hit pause, go back a week to catch up.
Have you read anything about what they're calling type 3 diabetes now? There's this link between dementia and metabolic dysfunction, which is ultimately like glucose regulation.
Well, and
challenge.
the portion of the brain that is affected by blood sugars, especially diabetes, is the same portion of the brain that is highly affected with dementia. And so, yes. And so for him, it was like you flipped it on and you turned it on. And with frontal temporal dementia, it's a whole, you're affecting that frontal lobe and its executive functioning. And so I think I saw how food affected had played such a huge role. Hi everyone, I'm Lexie Callies. Do you feel the squeeze of caring for an elderly loved one and school-aged children? Then welcome to the Sandwich Stories. Let's dig in.
And then we're kind of linked to others. Well, my husband eats this way, and so it's hard because he has this stuff in the house. Or I want to have a drink out at La Hacienda, but you're not. So, well, like, can we take steps to decide, like, we can still hang out? Alcohol is a huge thing this way.
It is, and it is.
And I mean, I drink as well, and less. The more I hate it, because the more I learn, I'm like, oh man,
you can't. No, it is
this
true.
Is not really serving me in any way. And then sometimes, but making a decision for yourself and being okay. Like I can go out with my girlfriends and they can all have a glass of wine and I can choose not to.
Right.
It might feel odd initially, but then you do it a couple times and you're like, if I really enjoy these people,
it won't matter.
I still have fun. And if I can't tolerate it, why the heck am I hanging out with you in the beginning?
Yeah. If you can't tolerate it without a cocktail.
Half to the wind to be around you.
Yes.
Maybe we should.
These are not good. These are not my friends.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like this is not something I want to do.
Yeah.
And then maybe we need a new circle.
Yeah.
So I'm not suggesting you need a new husband.
No. I found a winner. I'm not getting a new husband. But I think that would rock. I think everybody I know, like we're the couple that I always say he is my frog prince. I kissed all the frogs.
And then you found one.
I found one. And we are one and done. And that's never going to be the thing. But it was just out of the blue.
But I think it's interesting to see your reaction. Like, why did it make you so uncomfortable?
I think it was just our habit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're going to Laja. I get a ranch water. He gets a swirl.
Yeah.
And this is just what it is. And then just out of the blue, he's like, oh, I'm not doing this. And I was like, wait, we didn't have this conversation.
Yeah, we have to make this decision together.
We have to do this together. I just need to be warned.
Yes.
And
so
you're
like, I cannot drink too during the week. Right?
Yeah. It's totally fine. And I noticed he wasn't having, like, he's not the guy that's like drinking a lot at home. It's not what I want to say, but if he might be like, oh, I had a beer at home, but I wasn't, because I'm just never who I've been. And so he's like, oh, I'm just not drinking at home anymore. Okay, great, fine. Because he was just like, I think it's better for me.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's not there.
Yeah.
It is better for him. But then when he threw this bomb into my Mexican food dinner, I was like, wait, this is no.
Yeah.
Because I could do, if he said, oh, I'm not eating dessert on the weekdays. Okay, fine, whatever. But it was like the one
something you do together.
Yeah, it's not something we do together. And he also doesn't ever want me feel bad about eating dessert when I feel like I'm trying to cut it out or I'm trying to be better. So if he did eat it at home, he would eat it after I went to bed.
Out of your line of vision.
And totally out of my line of sight. Or if I was in the living room still watching a show or something like that on TV, he would eat it in the kitchen and not bring it out. And not that I wanted it. He just felt that it was just, he goes, this isn't polite.
He would feel left out if it were him.
Yeah. And so I think he just felt like this is the polite thing to do.
Yeah.
And so he just eats it when I'm but he also knows I'm in bed by 8:30. So he's like, he's like, oh, by 8:30 she'll be in bed and I can eat my ice cream. And
I think this just draws to light how interwoven food is with life and how much more than just food it is.
Yeah.
And what can we do to kind of peel that back and try to unwire some of that thinking and think Am I properly nourished?
Yeah.
What is this going to do to my body?
Yeah.
And is that what I want to do to my body based on what I want to do with it moving forward?
Right. And I think, so with that said, if you were going to give some people some tips, maybe they, it's not in their budget to come and have prepped food, that if you were going to say, here are my top 10 foods that you would say, and maybe they're not meals, but it's just foods, like your go-to, I like to have these in my house.
Yeah. So I think find fruits and vegetables that you like. So if I say it's kale and mushrooms and you're like, I hate that stuff, well then don't buy that.
No,
but like,
don't buy that.
Find some greens that you like.
Okay.
If they're sort of a nothing burger to you, then pick something really benign, like spinach hardly tastes like anything, right?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Certain greens have a lot of taste. Like I like arugula. It's very off-putting for some people. It's very peppery. Find some greens that you like.
Yep.
If you don't like them, just start to shove them into things because they're fairly, they're non-offensive.
We do this with mushrooms and meatloaf.
I love a mushroom and a meatloaf. Mushrooms are very polarizing.
It is very polarizing.
Mushrooms and beets, super polarizing.
Beets are on my no list.
Okay, I love them.
Mushrooms, I'll eat them anyway every day. I'll eat them raw.
They just soak up what you cook them in.
But my husband and son don't love them. But if you put them in
minced,
if you put them in the meatloaf, they'll eat them.
Yeah.
So
it just tastes like meat, right?
Well, I mean, like my mom was always the woman who would get the portobello steaks.
Yeah, I love that.
Eat it like that. And so it's very meaty. It has, it's more of a, people have done studies on it and they've said it's actually more of an animal than it is a plant.
Interesting. Okay.
And so they've looked at certain things and so that's why it kind of has a more meaty feel to it. There's some weird research when it comes to it. I went down the mushroom rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, so like you said, find greens that you like.
Find greens that you like. Find other vegetables that you like that are non-starchy, right?
Yeah.
So if you need snacks, like veggies are so great for that. Like cucumbers, radishes, carrot, celery. Play around with it. Go to the produce department and buy something that you don't normally buy, right? So what your microbiome likes is diversity.
Yeah.
Right? So, and we get stuck in these ruts, right? Like I drink a protein shake with a half a cup of spinach in it every morning. And then every day at lunch, I have this salad and I have these like 4 things in it. Well, like we like variety to help build our immune systems.
Yeah.
And so, which is why really, I mean, a lot of the East has it more right. They're very like seasonal eaters and eating the seasons. Ayurveda and TCM, they're very much not always the same.
Okay.
And with the way that farming practices work now, we can basically access everything all the time.
Right.
Right. So you can buy a watermelon in January. Does it have the nutrient content that it might in the meat of summer? Probably not. I don't know. But let's try to eat as seasonally appropriately as we can. And the way to explore that is to just go in and say, I can buy my normal cucumbers and whatever it is I normally buy, but let's just try asparagus. I haven't had that since I was a kid, or whatever the like weird vegetable to you is. Buy one, maybe at a farmer's market.
Yeah.
If you can get if you can afford the organically farmed produce, I'm a big believer in just as little chemical into our system as possible. It's not available for everybody. It's not affordable for everybody. But you can Google it, like the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
You can make some buying choices. The Dirty Dozen are the foods that are most heavily impacted and saturated with any chemical exposure that they might have. So making choices that way as well.
Right.
A thicker skin in general absorbs less. It's a little bit more protective of the fruit. So explore new areas of produce and make that your primary try to make that the building block of what your meal is. So often we're like, what are we doing tonight? Pork chop. Okay. Do we have rice? Do we have potato? Okay. And then it's like ornamental. Like, oh, is there a can of peas or something like that in the fridge? Rather than, okay, we've got like squash and sweet potatoes and some arugula. Like maybe we can make a salad out of that. And then what's our protein that we can add to this in reverse? It's such a foreign concept. And I would say start to think about those things as carbohydrates. So put your carbs first.
Yes.
Like decide on what carbohydrates you're ingesting today and what does that look like? And then supplement that like lighter fibrous content vegetable with cruciferous vegetables and then like a more starchy vegetables. Potatoes get a bad reputation. Sweet potatoes are awesome.
Yeah.
Squashes and like the more starchier veg are still carbohydrate, but a lot more nourishing than a loaf of Wonder Bread or just a plain white rice or something like that. So that's like that is where most of us are not focusing enough.
That's a good idea.
And that is also where our fiber is coming from in its most natural state. Now, beans and other legumes are a great fiber source as well, but that is the thing that I think people don't necessarily like shop for first.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know how to cook beans and lentils. Lentils were a big thing in my house. My dad loved lentils.
I love a lentil.
So, but he would always buy.
What a nerdy thing. Did you just hear me? I love a lentil.
We love a lentil. And they all kind of taste different.
How far are you? Without telling me, I love a lentil. Okay.
But there was always a bowl of beans soaking, lentils soaking, because if you're going to buy them dried, you need to soak them for a good 24 hours.
Yeah.
My dad would probably do it for 2 days.
Yeah.
They'd just be a bowl covered with, lentil. Oh, we're going to have lentil soup.
Do some lentil soon. Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be lentil soups coming up soon, or beans. Red beans and rice. That's coming real soon. So
the great thing about soaking them is it does help the digestive process work a little better, especially for those that are a little bit more sensitive.
So I think people are afraid of, and then if you're like my husband who grew up where canned vegetables were pretty much the only vegetable, he gets a little turned off by certain vegetables because he was like, oh, I remember that coming out of the can and it was a gross color or it was mushy or whatever it was. So then he doesn't want to eat it.
Yeah.
Same with beans. Like they came out of the can and he was just like, oh, gross.
Tastes gross. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think people just need to, it's like, don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid of it. And now in this day and age, like certainly you can pay someone like me to build you this nourishment plan and give you all the recipes. And I'm happy to do it. There is so much amazing resources for free everywhere you go. You don't even need to go to the library anymore to do it.
No.
You can use your phone. You can Google it. You can use ChatGPT and say, this is my weight. This is my activity level. This is my sensitivity list.
Yeah.
Build me and give me the recipes for. I mean, there are just, you don't necessarily even need somebody like me. I mean, I'm happy to be available and like do this with you. And I think that there's value that comes with that. But don't let that be a stopgap, right? There are resources. So if you're like, a fun game is like, I can't remember what the website used to be, but you could just do it with Google nowadays. These are the 6 things I have in my fridge.
Oh, I was going to say, now what do I do with? Yeah.
We have raw chicken breasts. We have cucumbers. We have arugula. We have a can of chickpeas. And we have some just like balsamic vinegar. Like, I mean, what am I to do here, right? And it can help you, especially if you're not a cook. If you can read, you can cook, but I get that it's a little bit more intimidating. Get a little bit creative with deciding you can also use what you have on hand, right? Because there is this block people have too. Like, I don't know what to do with the real food I have in my house. I've bought all these fruits and vegetables. Now what?
Yeah.
Now how do I eat them?
What's
what do I do
the
with
joke
them?
that people buy the box of spinach and they put it in their fridge for 2 weeks. They never touch it. They throw it away.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have the good intent to do it.
Yes.
And you buy it and then it's just daunting.
Yeah,
People
so
get afraid.
If you don't have a recipe for these vegetables, throw them into something as well. Like your blender can be your best friend in terms of supplementing fresh vegetables and fruit. So if you like a fruit smoothie, if you like a protein shake, I don't care what you do with it. Get it in somehow. Like 4 or more servings of fresh vegetables primarily or fruits per day literally change your expected lifespan.
Wow.
4. Just 4. And that is roughly a cup of raw or a half a cup of cooked. It's about 1.5 cups of greens.
Yeah.
But like in general, most vegetables, that's what a serving size looks like. So it doesn't mean you have to sit around all day and eat heads and heads of lettuce. Or it's not as much as you think.
Right.
If you incorporate them into every meal. If you wait until dinner, it's most of your plate. Okay, that's fine too.
Yeah.
So I would go heavy on vegetable investigation. And there are some I should be better. This is a good little cue for me to like just be a little bit more diligent about using our social media platforms to provide this, like, here's an idea of what to do with this, right? Kind of food. Just grab it and go. And then I would really, really focus on good protein sources that are also real food. So yes, if you are on like a protein goal macro plan and you want to find some protein products to incorporate into, fine. If that gets you off of other, a protein chip better than a real chip, probably.
Right.
However, I would prefer we decide how to eat some like real food.
Okay. And let people know, like, what would you consider real proteins?
I would be like, do you know where this came from?
Yeah.
Like, what is the protein source and how far away from it is it? Right. So did someone just, humanely harvest this animal and now it's on your plate?
Yes.
Versus, is this a nugget form in your freezer? Like, how far removed are we from the source? And same thing with, I have adopted an okayness with like a protein shake type drink.
Okay.
Just because I've accepted it's very difficult for a lot of my clients to get the amount of protein that I'm asking them to ingest, especially for somebody who's not historically been a very big meat eater.
Right.
And I adopt that there is a way for everybody. You can be vegan and do this. It just takes a little bit more creativity.
Yeah.
But outside of like certain like really, really amazing quality protein powders and things, I try to shy away from those things. So I would rather you have a can of tuna fish if you like it. Yeah. It took me years. I swear people are going to really turn their nose up on it. I'm a huge fan of these just sardines in a can in olive oil.
Yep.
If you've never had them, it's going to
take a while.
It's going to take you a year to try it.
Yeah.
And when you open it and you taste it, you'll either be in or you'll be out.
Yeah.
So just try it today. I think people see it as like this gross, like slimy thing. It's very much like tuna fish.
Yeah.
It has the most amazing omega-3s in it. It can sit in your cupboard forever.
Yes, it's very,
and it's on hand. So we joke. My son, I had 15 packs of sardines in his Easter basket.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
I'm so happy. He loves them.
Oh, good.
But we kind of become like we're fighting over it, and I'm clearing out Trader Joe's shelf because I want them on hand.
Yes,
as an easy. Again, I love to cook, but in a pinch, there's like a can of sardines, cut up a cucumber. Have a grapefruit, grab a good slice of sourdough, and like that is like a solid meal.
Okay.
That's going to carry you through the next thing without having to really have food prepped anything.
Right.
You just bought the stuff that you have on hand. So find good quality protein sources that you like.
Yes.
If you hate sardines, don't buy sardines. But
don't waste the money. Yeah.
But if you don't think you like them, give them a shot.
Yeah.
You can grill or air fry a couple of chicken breasts on the weekend and just chop them up and throw them into your fridge. And throw it onto a salad or eat it on the go or put it on a piece of toast with an egg in the morning and get a multitude, again, of protein sources.
Right.
If you don't want to cook, there are really high quality, like rotisserie chickens you can buy at Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah.
Just tear it apart.
Yep.
It does not have to be an all weekend preparation for the week.
Right.
There are really high quality products ready to go. You will pay more for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Pre-done packaged foods, you got to pay for it.
You have to. But that's okay.
But
I mean,
people are putting their time into, that's why people pay you. They're putting
100%.
your time into providing this. And, in some ways, time is money. And so
100%, yes.
Time is money. So if you have the ability to, and to pay someone to do it, by all means, if that's if you can do that, great. But don't pay someone to do it if you can't afford it. Like, don't put yourself in a bind.
Well, certainly no.
No, there's never a need for that. But
there are but
there are tons of ways,
sardines,
like you said. Cheap.
It's $2.
Cheap,
right?
Cheap.
It's $2 for a can of sardines. 200 calories, 19 grams of protein. It's a great little affordable hit.
Yeah.
Greens, affordable. Just there are ways to do this in an affordable way. And it doesn't even really take that much creativity. Cooking for yourself is way less expensive than even, driving through. Gosh, I used to do some of this convenience food just because like the kids would sometimes ask for it. I had a client tell me to feed her family of 5 at their favorite, I won't like blast the brand, but like their favorite fast food place. they're spending like $80.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And I'm like, holy cow. Like, you could have fed the family for several nights at home in a crock pot, right? Your dad's style, right? White chicken chili for everybody for 4 nights. $35.
That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah. So just kind of adopting.
I do have to say, my husband loves a one pot. He is a one pot wonder. He loves, but man, I tell you, when it's 100 degrees and that guy still makes chili, when it's 100 in July, I look at him. I was like, why? I don't want chili and it's 100 degrees outside. Can we come up with something else?
So here's what I think about this. So the two, and again, gadgets.
Yeah.
Depending on how much you cook. An Instapot in the summer or in the winter.
Yes.
In the winter.
Yeah.
Because this is this one pot magic. Some meat,
we love
veg,
our crock
whatever.
pot.
You can turn it into soups or stews or not. You can even cook things in there. And then an air fryer for the summer.
That we don't have. And I've been trying to get him to buy one, but he won't buy one.
They are so amazing. And here's why. Number one, it tastes, well, it's faster.
Yeah, okay.
It just tastes way better than if you're trying to roast something and get, like, you know how you're like trying to make French fries in the oven.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like flipping it and it's not really crunchy. It just kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not good.
But the air fryer, like my kids prefer, they
Okay.
really, really do. And it's, you shake it around, get the largest one that you can if you're feeding, you know, more people. It's so fast. And you can do a lot of one potters that way. You can throw in diced up sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts and a chicken breast into the air fryer.
Yeah.
Some of them even have like a couple levels if they require different things. And it's just, it's fast. It's one cleanup, not all the pots and the pans. And it's simplifying and making it edible.
I do like
everybody.
this. This I do like. Yeah. Because
it does not need to be hard.
No.
You just have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. That works for you, you will keep up with. I think that's what it is. When it comes down to these kinds of things, it's really what can you keep up with that you're not going to get tired of, bored of, whatever it is, and then you stop doing it. The reward is not there. So then you yet again stop doing it. It's just like you said with the food. If all you do is deprive, you're going to stop because you can't keep up with it. You want the reward. And so your brain's going to say, well, this is not fun.
Yeah.
I am not entertained by this.
Yes.
And I'm going to stop. And then you're going to binge on all the things that you've been depriving yourself of and then you're back at square one or worse.
Absolutely.
And so I think it is just getting that habit of cleaner food, focusing on things that, like you've said, is anti-inflammatory. I think that is, I don't want it to become a fad. I think it is a catchphrase right now. I think it's in the public eye at the moment, but I really feel like I said, as we become more intelligent and more educated about food and what it can and can't, how it can work for you and how it can work against you, I think it will just become, I don't think it will become a fad. I think it will become just the way life is. It's just the regular way of eating and focusing on helping your body. Because I think as people live longer, we're all living longer. We're seeing diseases come in sooner than we were before. And part of that, I think sometimes it's our life. It's like you said, it's environmental, it's food, it's all these things where people are saying, oh, I'm seeing diseases that I didn't know we would be having in my family. Well, maybe that's because you are living longer. We are living longer. So you're seeing things that maybe no one in your family saw before because people passed away sooner.
Right.
And I think, so like with my mom, all y'all know, she has a rare form of Parkinson's, multiple systems atrophy with Parkinsonianisms. It's a fun mouthful. But that things that come along with that are dementia, aphasia, all the things. And I really feel some of it is stress. Some of, I think, with her getting her disease when she did was stress. But I also think it's environmental. I don't think she was feeding herself that well. She was, like I said, she's the woman of the 80s and 70s, 80s, 90s food culture. And feel like we have to maybe combat these things that we've kind of built up into our norms, so that we, all the studies are starting to show up that, part of dementia is inflammation. And and as more people are saying, I guarantee if you have not been touched by dementia yet, you will be at some point in your life. And I look at it for me that I'm trying to make changes so that maybe I can combat it so that my son doesn't have to deal with it as soon as I did.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to see his mom go through this as soon as I did. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But these are the
mom.
I know you.
Mom's one of my favorites.
She knows my mom. But yeah, so it's one of those where it's I feel as if this is where, if, like you said, if you can get the clean food in, you can get food, just Google a few things that say anti-inflammatory foods.
Well, I mean, it's easy. I mean, it's everything you would this is the thing, is it really isn't rocket science, but let's break it down a little bit, right? So like fiber-rich foods, like these produce-rich carbohydrate, lean beans, proteins, doing omega-3 heavy foods like mackerel, like sardines, like salmon, getting these foods into our diets. And then as much as I, as a nutritionist, like to focus on like, here's what we are eating, and less about like, you can't and you can't and you shouldn't. Yeah. However, processed foods, refined sugars, alcohol. Yeah. These things lead to inflammation in the body, as does stress. Yeah. Right. So we know these things. Can we decide to adopt them? And like anybody, right? Like really, again, like all the women that I'm like, focus on how you're feeling instead of what the scale says when you're coming in to work out, because that's what's going to keep you motivated to do this. It's the same. Look towards, what do I want to be doing in my 70s and 80s? Yeah. Do I want to require the assistance of my children if I can help it? Or do I want to be participating in their lives? Do I want to be able to gift them with my continued help and support in a way that I know your mom, you know,
she would have given her right arm.
Everything, right? Yeah. And so, and again, we can't prevent it all. No. But what can we do today? Yes. I mean, maybe not so you're not an inconvenience. You can also flip the script, not so much so that you're not an inconvenience for your kids, but so that you can enjoy them for as long as possible. Exactly. And participate. You know, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. To be able to see my mom not be able to participate in the way she had dreamt to is heartbreaking and sad. Luckily, Shelby's really good about it. He's a trooper when it comes to Grammy. But I know there are things that she wishes she could fix and change, but it's just not the way life is. Yes. And we make the best of it and we soldier on. Yeah. But I hope to not be able to, I don't want to, my mom is not a burden, but I don't want to feel like a burden to my son. Because I'm sure my mom would say that to me. She said, I'm a burden to you, even though I don't think she is, but I'm sure we all have that. You don't want to inconvenience those you love. And so, I don't want to do that for my son. But I want to be able to be there for him and for his family, and to be able to participate and do all the things with his children, hopefully one day, that I would like to do, and do all the things maybe the way my mom wanted to do with my son that she couldn't. She always joked before he was ever born, she was going to be anti-MAME. Drag this boy all over the world. Yeah. See you later. You and your husband can stay home. I'm taking him wherever I want to go. And she wasn't able to do that. Yeah. So I hope to be able to be the anti-MAME for my son's kids. And drag them all over the world and say, okay, bye.
And what you do today sets that stage, right? Yeah. Like and what we do at 40 really, I mean, yes, you can always make changes down the road, but like what you start, the earlier you start, it's much easier to retain a practice than adopt a new one.
Well, and I saw a friend, and I've been trying to make a more concerted effort to focus on inflammation. It's not always, like I said, I know what makes me feel puffy. So I try to avoid those, or I try to limit. And I actually saw a friend today, and we were working out this morning, and she was like, you look just less inflamed. Mm-hmm. She's like, you look less swollen and puffy. And I was like, great. Well, that's what I am going for.
So like, have you done like and a lot of people could benefit from this, like any type of elimination. I hate the word diet, but this protocol. So like for not everybody, but gluten, dairy, soy, sugar, are the most common inflammatory foods for some, right? I'm not sensitive to gluten.
Yeah.
I can eat gluten. I mean, I don't eat it all day long every day, but like I'm not. Others can have a little bit of it. Others have their joints swell up and they're true celiac kind of stuff. But toying around with like, how does my body actually feel? Or somebody like your husband, like I love ice cream every day. Yeah. If we pull dairy for a month, you're like, oh, I always thought XYZ was just kind of part of the way my skin looked. Well, maybe you have a dairy sensitivity. Now you're not totally bloated or super sick, but I think might be sensitive to things.
Even little things like with my son, I was like, oh, he's had too much dairy. He's smelly.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, nope.
So you know he has a bit of a sensitivity.
I think so, but getting him to believe he has it is also hard. And then getting to my husband to believe that is also part of it. But he since he's a swimmer, he drinks, there's a protein drink he likes. He's very particular. I've tried I think I've tried 20 different protein shakes with him just to get him to like something on the go, or he can put it in his bag of meat and it's super easy. He has like one he likes, but I did switch it out for the non-dairy version of it. And he's like, it doesn't taste as good, creamy, but it's not bad. Okay. And I was like, great. That's what that we were going to drink that. But he does, I mean, his go-to is a protein-rich yogurt and a protein waffle every morning. Like that's his go-to. That's what he loves. And I'm like, all right, you know what? It's probably better than what some kids are getting.
Of course.
Or he'll like an oatmeal or things like that. But he does love, he loves a yogurt. Like this, he likes cheese and yogurt, but it's really yogurts are his go-to.
And it's a great option for a lot of us.
Yeah, it is. But for my son, I was like, maybe we don't do that. But okay. But yeah, to get I think it's knowing, like you said, it's knowing certain things about yourself that maybe,
and being open to exploring it to find out if maybe, because you think you're fine and you are fine.
Yeah.
But you may notice like, oh, I'm not as puffy, or my skin isn't as red, or especially teens, like acne can be a motivator to help them explore what they might be more sensitive
there. And
to.
I think that's part of it too, is that I've been trying to get him to say, hey, maybe if we try out without dairy for a month, let's see how your skin goes.
See how it goes.
Because it's gotten a little better, but it's not great.
Yeah. And that just depends on the kid, right? Some kids are like, it's fine.
He's just not there yet.
Yeah.
There's not a girl he likes yet. So I kind of feel like once he finds someone he likes, then maybe it will be the motivating factor.
Yeah. And then you're like, I kind of like it if you don't care too much, right?
Yeah, I know. But he's only 13. He just turned 13. So we still have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But I think it's, but he's just not quite open to those conversations yet. Sure. So I don't push them too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think it's making choices now so that it will help you later and help your family later, I think is really just the key to all of it. And, and it's, as more research comes out, as we're finding more, like you said, environmental factors, food factors, all these kinds of things, I just really hope people become a little more educated. And you don't have to go down a rabbit hole. You don't have to become a licensed nutritionist. You don't have to do all these things. I think it's just little things to say, let me try this.
Yep. You can make a small change
and whatever
every week.
This is, and if it's, excuse me, if it's, you're not a vegetable person and you find you're like, oh, let me dip my toe in the veggie pool, and it's going to be cucumbers because that's a pretty easy one to start with.
Yeah.
And that's the veggie that you're going to eat, but you've never really eaten them before. Good for you.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
And then maybe you will be willing to find something.
Yeah, just one little change at a time.
Just a little bit and then your kids will like it too. If they see mom not ever eating vegetables, then maybe why would they want to eat? Well, mom doesn't do it. Why should I do it?
We're setting the stage for that. I know it's not something that we always love to hear because it's intimidating. It's a huge responsibility, and that's with everything, right? That's just being a parent or a member of a family. It doesn't even mean you're parenting, right?
Yeah.
But, one tiny change at a time, and really thinking about your health as the only thing that you really need that is required to live the life that you want.
Yes.
Right? It is the thing that can really, really get in the way of what you want to do with your life.
Right.
And we would never let a exhausted, underfed, totally maxed out, stressed out kid get into a highway and not buckle up a seatbelt and go 80 miles an hour. But we need to take on some of that accountability for ourselves.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it's and we as caretakers, if I know we've said this about our kids, being the mirror, like letting them see what they need to see. But also if you have loved ones who are like my mom, who are impacted by disease, just making some clean changes with them too can help.
Yes.
Is it going to reverse the disease? No. But is it going to maybe make some brain fog go, like make that alleviated a little bit so that
keeping as much inflammation at bay at all times, no matter what age, is never harmful to the body.
No, and
it's
so
always
then
going to benefit.
So then maybe your loved one might find that the aphasia is not as bad, or a brain fog because is just not as bad. Or for my mom, I can always tell, if she's slept better, because sleep for Parkinson's patients is a huge factor. With your serotonin and dopamine levels, sleep is a huge factor. And if they don't get good sleep,
you can tell.
You can tell the next day, 100%. So I think it's just little things like that. I think if we can help our elderly loved ones, then, and it's not always possible. Like my mom's in memory care. I don't get to control
what she's eating every day,
all the food that she's eating every day, but I can tell the girls, you know what? She has really active sleep, and part of her disease is active sleep. She doesn't sleepwalk, but some do. So we actually give her 12 milligrams of melatonin, and it helps dampen the active sleep so she can get better sleep.
Yeah.
So even if that's what it takes, now if she lived with me, it would be a different story, because then I would, watch the food and all these other things. But my mom and I living together will never be a thing ever, because we would fight. It would not be good. It would not be harmonious at all.
Yeah.
But I think, and I, and I think some people will say too, oh, but they're elderly. They've lived a long life. They're ill. Just let them have what they want. Let them be happy. And if you have a patient who, needs to put on weight, and this is what makes them happy, by all means, let them eat it. Like I said, with my grandmother, she was 100 pounds wet when she moved to assisted living, because she forgot that she was eating. And so she loved cheesecake, and we had to put weight on her fast. And so my aunt let her have cheesecake every day. Now, was it the best choice? No. Was there another way to do it? Possibly. But it got her to eat. And that's just that's what we needed to do. And we got a good 5-10 pounds on her.
Yeah.
It took a while, but we got her there. So, I think that thought process is not always the best, because yes, they've lived a long life. Yes, they're going through a hard time, but, how do you alleviate some of the hard time? How do you, because maybe some of the hard time is due to food, due to certain things.
I mean, this is not my area of expertise.
No, it's not. And I'm not saying it is, but I think these are just things I've seen by being
there's a connection.
There's a connection. With my dad, it was, he had type 2 diabetes, and he was great when he first found out he had diabetes. He lost a ton of weight. He was checking his sugars all the time, but he found it being restrictive. And finally, there was just one day he said, screw this.
Forget it.
I'm tired of people telling me what I can and cannot eat, what beer I can and cannot have anymore. I don't care anymore, which was really hard.
Yeah.
Because he let his blood sugar tank to the point he was almost like in a coma because it just crashed, and my mom had to call the ambulance. But that was a light switch. Literally, they got him to the hospital, they got his blood sugars taken care of, and it was like you turned on a light switch for his dementia.
Well, I don't know enough to speak about this educatedly, but have you read anything about what they're calling type 3 diabetes now? There's this link between dementia, and metabolic dysfunction, which is ultimately like glucose regulation.
Well, and the portion of the brain that is affected by blood sugars, especially diabetes, is the same portion of the brain that is highly affected with dementia. And so, yes. And so for him, it was like you flipped it on. Yeah. And you turned it on. And with frontal temporal dementia, you're affecting that frontal lobe and its executive functioning. And so I think I saw how food played such a huge role. And so those are the things that I've seen over time. And I know that's not your area of expertise.
I mean, I'm very familiar with like glucose regulation and how important it is to even just changing up the way and the order in which you eat can have a lot of a positive impact in the way that your body responds to sugars.
But I think when you have that is a whole other show. But I think, when you have, there are some elderly people who just say, you know what, I just want to do what I want to do. And you can try to influence. You can influence a little bit, but then there's a point where you just have to say, is it worth the fight?
Right. And so I think your whole point today is like, so how do we
get
kick
the
that
habits
can down the road or not end up in that spot? Right.
And I think it's the habits now, because if I set these habits now, if I start making these changes now, then I'm not, when I'm elderly, when I'm older, I'm not saying, well, I don't want to eat that way, right? Because I'm already eating that way. I'm already making the choices now so that my son doesn't have to fight me later by saying, well, this is how I've always eaten. Why do I have to change now? So,
it's a great insurance policy,
yeah.
Right? Like it's really just investing in your best
yourself.
Possible outcome.
Yes. Invest in your gut, invest in your health, invest in brain function, all the things. Yeah. And, I hope all of y'all out there, maybe just make a few choices. If you're already on this journey, I really applaud you. And I really hope that it goes well for you. If you're new to it, then like we said, just dip your toe in. It's not an instant life changing, we have to throw everything out kind of situation. Food's expensive. If you've already bought it, use it. But next time you go to the store, maybe make a change.
Yep.
Maybe you're going to, like I said, if you love lasagna, maybe instead of ricotta, you're going to put in cottage cheese. I don't know, something simple. It does a little more protein based.
Get some more vegetables.
Get some more vegetables.
Start shopping the perimeter of your store.
Put the veggies in the lasagna. Put the veggies in the meatloaf. Put them in. Get however it's going to be.
Make the food.
Yeah. Do it. Dip your toe in it. You don't have to go down the rabbit hole. Y'all can easily go on Google. Just find a few changes. Find what you like, what works for you. And you and your family, I think, will be better off for it.
For sure.
So
anyway. Food's a really powerful tool.
It's
all around you every day. So,
yeah. And you'll find something you like and you'll be like, why didn't I know about this? I love it.
Yeah.
So you'll find it. I know you will. Okay. So thank you, Christina. I really appreciate it. Okay. Song of the week. You brought us a song of the week.
I forgot that I was supposed to, but I do have a go-to. So Greatest Showman's like my favorite show. And so This Is Me is always like my walk-up song choice. And
okay. So Greatest Showman, This Is Me.
This Is Me.
All right. I think so. If you haven't heard it, if you haven't seen Greatest Showman, watch it. If you have, and this is also your go-to, I think it is it's one of my husband's favorite movies.
I love it so much.
He loves it so much too. Yeah. So get out there, have some fun, try some new foods, and listen to Greatest Showman, This Is Me. Okay, guys? Love you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Sandwich Stories. I really hope you learned some new things and enjoyed it. If you did, tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your dad, tell everybody you know to also listen. Maybe they'll learn some new things, how to help each other out, and find us at Sandwich Stories Podcast. Thanks so much.